Hermès has sold us a dream for decades. What if most of that legendary made-in-France magic is really happening 6,000 miles away on a humming factory floor in Shandong? Today, we're pulling the silk scarf off luxury's best-kept secret. The fallout is rattling every label from Hermes to Louis Vuitton. Hermes loves to remind us that a Kelly bag takes 14 to 20 hours and a 4-year training program before a single stitch hits leather. Executive Chairman Axel Dumas even bragged that opening more than one new atelier a year would disrupt the savoir-faire. But TikTok had other plans.
Our artisans, they need to do 4 years of training to be able to manufacture a Kelly bag. This that you've just seen, the perlage, you need to be very skilled and very, very good.
Some of Hermes products are made in China. Towels are from Fuyue in Shandong. They also make products for Chanel and IKEA. Beddings are from Yue in Shandong. Men's shoes are from Shachi in Shandong. Tableware are from Gaochun in Jiangsu.
It was my first time shopping at Hermes, and let me tell you how it went.
We got a lot of requests, do Hermes next. And that's why we're here in the Highland Park Mall.
In Italy, made in China, or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way, because some brands get real creative when it comes to made in.
In early 2025, a group of Chinese factory owners started dropping videos that shattered the romance. Up to 80% of the cutting, stitching, and edge painting done in China.
Put the finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. There are no manuals or cheat sheets. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
So Hermes has put out a response to China, and they have like a video in a factory sort of showing people trying to show that they're actually the ones who are making the bags in a factory somewhere in France.
Spent over $100,000 of my own money dissecting luxury bags, cutting them open, analyzing every stitch, every layer. Why? Because I had to know what made those bags so expensive.
They posted warehouse invoices, shipping manifests, even side-by-side footage of Birkin panels and dupes rolling off the same line. One clip hit 30 million views in 48 hours. The hashtag #TheMadeWear exploded, and the comment section turned into a live autopsy of French luxury. But that was only the first cut.
Almost finished bags from China factories, back to their own factories, and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that.
The Chinese supplier behind product. Bags are from Siton Handbag in Dongguan City, Guangdong Province. It's a factory specializing in handbags for 54 years. And it produces 80% of the world luxury bags.
Started making his boots in China, and that is these boots right here. This is pretty much the UGG boot that like most Americans will have in their house. I was very pissed off when I found out the truth because I grew up in Southern California. I remember being in elementary school when I would only see 2 people in the entire school wearing UGG boots, and they were always the cool surfer kid.
Those bags I cut open, just expensive, nothing special, but they feel truly exceptional.
Enter Tanner Leatherstein, the indie leather nerd who slices designer bags open on camera just to see what's inside. He bought brand new Birkins, Kellys, and Constances, then gutted them like science projects. His verdict? Most hides were the same corrected grain cow leather used in $100 knockoffs, and the total raw cost to build a Birkin landed around $600, hardware included. Not $14 K, not $38 K. $600. Viewers watched him yank foam stiffeners and plastic coating out of $15 K clutches like he was pulling stuffing from a grocery store turkey.
It's as humbling as your daughter drawing on your $60,000 Birkin, am I right?
Yeah. I couldn't even be mad at her because when I asked her, I was like, I wanted to see if she was gonna tell me the truth. I was like, Coach, did you draw on mommy's purse?
Literally spent $60,000 on this purse. Look what my daughter did to my purse.
Where I keep all my purses. This one here is really special. If my house is on fire, I would take this one out of all of them.
Unbox my latest Hermes bag with me. This is my first bag I got this year. I usually only get one bag a year, and this is the one for this year. And kind of really excited about it.
Clips rocketed through fashion Twitter, Reddit, and Weibo in hours. Investors started whispering that the Hermès premium might be all storyline, no substance. Hermès could ignore a TikTok until the lawyers had to log on. With its share price wobbling, Hermès did what legacy houses do best: litigate. The brand filed suits in Paris, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen, accusing several of those whistle factories of defamation and misuse of intellectual property.
You walk into Hermes and say, hey, I want to buy one of these. You know what they say to you? No, we don't have them. First of all, you have to be an Hermes customers. You have to demonstrate that you like the brand. And then you can only buy one per year.
I've been speaking to this client here regarding selling her Birkin 30 Gris Etane, if I'm not wrong. Gris Etane is the color, and it's palladium hardware. The bag is in box fresh condition, but it's Y stamp, which means it's a 2021 piece.
Basically, how dare you claim our French bags aren't French? Insiders leaked that. Settlement offers included eye-watering NDAs designed to kill the story. Meanwhile, Hermès rushed out a glossy video tour of a spotless French workshop, cue violin music, and close-ups of hand-burnished wax thread, hoping to drown TikTok receipts in PR ambiance. But the scandal had already jumped houses. At the end of January, Louis Vuitton boss Pietro Beccari sat down with the Financial Times to hype LV's new Formula One sponsorship. When a reporter lobbed the inevitable outsourcing question, Beccari didn't flinch. Our French and Italian ateliers remain the soul of the maison, he said, warning that online misinformation risks devaluing true craftsmen. He never named Hermès, but the subtext was clear. If the Birkin myth crumbles, every 20 billion leather empire is one hashtag away from contagion. Nice try, Pietro, but math doesn't need a passport stamp. Hermès sold roughly 1 million leather items last year and claims each bag requires a full day of artisan labor. Even with 4,700 leather workers, that output only covers half the math. Factor in a fresh round of US luxury tariffs taking effect May 1st, and Hermès has announced yet another price hike to protect margins. Analysts note the company would need 2,000 additional French artisans overnight to keep pace without outsourcing. Spoiler, they don't exist. So either the demand is a mirage, or the supply chain map isn't Paris-centric at all. And if supply chain fairy tales are shaky, what keeps the hype alive? Celebrities, of course. Cardi B didn't just flex a Birkin, she let 6-year-old Culture doodle a fat black heart on a $60 K Crocodile Kelly and blasted the moment to her 167 million followers. Comments flew. Iconic, mom goals, when your coloring book is Himalayan leather. Overnight, Google searches for repair Hermès bag spiked 240%. A week later, the algorithm served up Kylie Jenner's closet tour, floor to ceiling. Rainbow Kellys arranged like Pantone chips, acid lime next to bubblegum pink, next to Tiffany blue, each shelf staged for the perfect swipe-up screenshot. Vogue called it out of this world, but the real takeaway was the math. Kylie's 120 bag wall equals roughly $4 million in retail value, enough to buy a Bel Air starter mansion. That's only the A-list tip of the iceberg. TikTok is clogged with Come to Hermès with Me vlogs, where micro-influencers unbox orange boxes they never paid for, bags on loan so they can tag Just Hermes crew and funnel FOMO straight to checkout. PR agencies quietly orchestrate it. Hermès lends a calfskin Constance for 48 hours. The creator racks up 800K views. The comments beg for SA contacts, and the brand's waitlist stretches another football field. Behind closed doors, stylists admit the game gets even murkier on red carpets. Insurance premiums on a $150 K Himalayan Birkin can top $10 K per night. So some teams carry mirror-gray dupes instead, indistinguishable under flash photography, swapped for the genuine article only if a photographer demands a close-up. One Hollywood dresser, speaking off the record, joked, "The bag in the Getty image is often cheaper than the dress, yet the clout transfer is identical. The star posts, the tag pings, resale prices inch higher, and Hermès collects the dividend without lifting a stitching awl. It's a perfect perpetual motion machine. Celebrity flaunts, fans crave, demand explodes, scarcity narrative deepens, celebrity flaunts again. Craftsmanship may sit in the brochure, but in 2025, the real luxury currency is algorithms and adjacency. Being close enough to the bag, or even a convincing fake, that your followers believe the dream. Hermès isn't just selling leather, it's leasing out social capital by the square inch, yet every bubble needs rising resale values to stay airborne. The luxury resale market was supposed to be untouchable. For years, analysts called the Birkin bag, a safer bet than the S&P 500, bragging about appreciation rates that outpaced gold. Birkin owners flaunted resale charts like stock portfolios. Buy a Birkin, beat the market, they said. But within weeks of the factory whistleblower videos, that narrative started to collapse. According to secondary market trackers like Rebec's Claire report and the Real Real's Q1 earnings summary, staple Birkin SKUs, especially the go-to Togo leather 30cm and 35cm sizes, dropped between 12 to 18% in average resale value. Those weren't minor fluctuations. For a luxury market known for slow, steady gains, it was a free-fall. Forums on Purseblog and our designer reps lit up with panicked sellers. Dumping my inventory before the floor drops again? Getting rid of my B35 while I still can. One flipper even posted a fire sale on Reddit, liquidating 5 Birkins at once, slashing prices by $8,000 a bag, desperate to offload before buyers lost faith entirely. The phones just aren't ringing like they used to. One Florida-based reseller told Business of Fashion, "Collectors are nervous. They're asking questions we never used to hear. Where exactly was this one made?" And while resale sites scrambled to reassure customers with certificate of authenticity guarantees, there was one corner of the internet that wasn't sweating at all. DHgate? Almost overnight, DHgate, a Chinese e-commerce giant best known for its dupe game, shot up to the top 3 free shopping apps on the Apple App Store. The search term Birkin dupe skyrocketed. TikTok filled up with factory extra unboxings, with creators showing off handbags that looked identical to their $25,000 grails. Minus the logo, minus the 5-figure price tag. These weren't the sloppy knockoffs of a decade ago. We're talking mirror replicas, hand-painted edges, real calf skin, hand-stitched seams, weight-matched hardware. And here's where it gets ugly for Hermes. Some of these bags weren't even knockoffs. They were what the industry calls ghost shifts. Extra units made at the same factories that handle official production runs, built during off hours by the same workers, using the same materials, just without the brand's blessing. The only thing missing was the stamp. If your $25 K Birkin and a $350 DHgate dupe are cousins, separated only by a hot stamp and a little paperwork, why wouldn't shoppers pocket the difference? Even more damning, some TikTok creators began uploading side-by-side quality tests: edge paint durability, water resistance, zipper alignment. One viral post showed a $400 dupe outperforming a $15,000 authentic Hermes bag in a water-soak test. The comment section was brutal. "So I'm paying $20 for a brand story? Gatekeeping luxury is crazy when the same hands are making my $300 dupe. It's not the craftsmanship, it's the clout you're buying." Meanwhile, the luxury houses stayed mostly silent, hoping the storm would pass. But in private, sources say Hermes SA's internal resale tracking flagged the dip as the worst quarter for Birkin's secondhand value since the 2008 financial crash. The exclusivity bubble, the myth that these bags could only ever appreciate, that they were recession-proof, that investment bag was more than a catchphrase, wasn't just leaking. It was wheezing. And that's when the conversation started to get even bigger than Hermes. Because the cracks in this story weren't just about one brand. They were about the entire house of cards propping up the luxury handbag empire. For decades, the phrase "made in Italy" has been the ultimate flex, a stitched-in stamp of prestige, craftsmanship, and old-world mastery. The same goes for "made in France," the holy grail of luxury branding. These labels don't just describe geography, they sell a feeling, a fantasy, a lifestyle. But here's the catch. In the world of European luxury law, those 3 little words don't always mean what you think they mean. According to EU labeling regulations, a product can legally claim "made in Italy" or "made in France" if the final substantial transformation happens there. And what qualifies as substantial? Sometimes it's just sewing on the zipper. Sometimes it's adding the handle. Sometimes it's literally snapping on a buckle. And guess what? The brands aren't exactly rushing to correct your assumptions. Why would they? The illusion is what sells. Crafted in Italy sounds a lot more romantic than 90% assembled offshore. You don't see Vogue doing cover spreads on the Chongqing Stitching Cooperative. But thanks to the internet, and especially TikTok, that illusion is now under the microscope. Creators across social media have made it their mission to decode luxury supply chains, posting deep dives that break down where each stage of bag production really happens. The hashtags "Your Made in Italy scam" and "Luxury Lies" have racked up millions of views, with users dissecting how labels manipulate country of origin laws to maintain the perception of exclusivity. The exposure has been so widespread that even powerhouses like Louis Vuitton have felt the need to weigh in. As we mentioned earlier, LV's CEO Pietro Beccari recently spoke out in defense of their ateliers, calling them the soul of the maison and warning against the dangers of online misinformation. But his choice to even address the rumor mill is telling. When the world's biggest luxury brand feels the need to jump into the conversation, it's because the narrative is slipping out of their control. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Once buyers start questioning where these bags are made, it leads to a much bigger question: what exactly are we paying for? Because at the end of the day, the real question isn't whether your bag is made in France. The question is whether it ever really mattered. So here's the uncomfortable question we end on. Would you still flex a Birkin if the tag read Made in Shenzhen? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you just proved that luxury is a vibe, not a birthplace. If the answer is no, the rabbit hole only gets deeper from here. Hit that like button if you're side-eyeing your favorite label right. Now, subscribe for the next deep dive. Rolex parts sourcing is wilder than you think. And drop a comment. Should celebrities be held accountable for pushing $60 illusions? Because in the end, the most expensive thing about a luxury bag might just be the story you buy with.